Hey guys, what it do? It's your boy Supreme Cheer the Godman, and today I want to talk about our beautiful manga. But first, please make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe because this manga is so spectacular, and it's one of the saddest stories I think I've ever read. And I've read a lot of sad manga. I've watched a lot of sad anime. I used to be a sucker for sad creative stuff like that. So, for me to tell you that this was just absolutely breathtaking and amazing, it's sincerely, I mean it. Imagine, and I'll give kind of like a summary rather than tell you exactly what the story is about, because I don't really want to spoil it for you too much. I mean, I will spoil it, of course, but I don't want to give too much of it away. So imagine, there's a boy who, listen, they're absolutely, and I mean this, they're absolutely in love with somebody that they know since they were kids. And that love drives them, okay? It drives them to keep going because nothing in their life is really going as planned. They have for this person, but yet that love that they have for this person is just so powerful, it's so strong, it's so ultimate, unwavering, that they continue to cling on to this hope. And the hope is crazy. Imagine you're 10 years old and the world is at your feet. It's at your mercy. You can become anything you so dream of. You are the smartest person in your class alongside the girl of your dreams. And you make a promise to each other. She makes it to you, in fact. And she says, if at 20 we are not wanted by others and are still discarded, if we are still lonely and not yet taken by another, we together combine and we take each other. And it's such a beautiful, child-like dream. And yet, both of them cling on to this dream for the remainder of their lives. They cling on to this, and it's the thing that keeps them going through the hardest times. And one day she reaches out to him, and this is 7 years later, he never reached out. And he replies, nonchalant, as she could not comprehend. He was still in his head, trying to achieve the dreams he said he would achieve, so that if he sees her, he can say, look, I have achieved my dreams. And in that mess, in that, what do they say, tunnel vision, he could not see that she was reaching out for him to hold on to her there and then. 7 years later, he was blinded and ashamed that he was not yet where he should be. And so he pretended all things were well, and she could not but feel pain and rage and anger. How could he not understand that the fact that I am reaching out before the promised date means that I need you now? And thus, she thought, I will kill myself in front of you. The day that we meet is the day that you will regret not coming to my rescue. You were my one and only true friend. You were the one who I placed all my hopes on. And you let me down. But the crazy thing is, he placed all these hopes on her. And he was just so afraid of being a disappointment to her that he failed to realize that she did not care about any of that. She just wanted him. Too late sometimes we are. And thus, he was poor, ashamed, pitiful. And he decided to sell the remainder of his life, except 3 months. But his life was worthless. Of course, he could not know this. And yet he took it anyway. He took the deal. 10,000 yen a year. Why not? I have nothing to gain, nothing to live for. I'm meeting the girl of my dreams in 3 months, and I know she's probably happy with somebody else, and her life is great and mine is not. But yet, at least at last, I want to see her one last time, and maybe even tell her how I feel, and that I've clinged on to her for all this time. And who would have knew that giving and selling your life away for 10,000 yen a year, or 300,000 yen, the remainder of his life, which was 30 years, because he would die due to an accident that eventually led to his depression, that eventually led to his death. He was an artist by way, prodigy, genius, but he began to draw for the sake of others instead of drawing for the love of art and for oneself and one's true meaning of self. That is when art loses its true meaning, when it becomes watered down. And alas, he sold the remainder of his life, worthless as it was. And he got a girl as an overseer, a watcher of sort, to ensure that the person who only has a certain amount of time remaining does not go too crazy and harm others, as many tend to lose their minds the closer they get to their impending death. Regret for selling away their lives for whatever price that they were offered. And thus, just like them, he also began to lose his mind. He thought, what if I abuse this overseer of mine, this girl? She is attractive after all. But he decided, maybe I should not. Maybe I should not. I'm not that person. And he lived monotonously, wasting away the remaining days, minutes, hours, weeks. And all he thought is, I'm just waiting for the day where I meet her. And when I meet her, I will give her the remaining money that I have. Because he discovers, and her is the childhood friend, he discovers the truth about her, because this observer, this girl that's an observer, she explained to him, well, avoided to, but tried to tell him that, yeah, maybe you should not go visit her. Maybe you should just leave it. But he insisted, and eventually she told him, listen, she's pregnant, has a kid with another, is divorced, quite unhappy. It is not the same person that you once knew. But he said, does not matter. I must go see her. Because my child, her dream was to do this. The kid version of me said that in 10 years, I must go see her. And even if I don't want to, even if it'll be sad, even if it'll break my heart, I will go see her. And he did. He went and saw her. And it ended up better than it would have been if he never gave away his life for money, interestingly, because she would have killed herself right in front of him. But instead, she saw him as pathetic, because he decided to profess, look, there's this overseer next to me, and she's beautiful and she's nice, and she's been with me, and I sold my life. And her childhood friend looked at her like she was crazy, like he was crazy. But the thing is, her childhood friend still planned to kill herself up until that moment. Up until that moment, she planned to kill herself in front of him, so that he would know and regret not showing up for her. Imagine that. Love, huh? The cruelest yet most beautiful thing that we can imagine. It can be disgustingly obtuse, or disgustingly distorted, and disgustingly aggressive, abrasive, dangerous, bloody, and also so beautiful, poetic, and soft, but yet sharp as a razor when it may turn into something else. How interesting. And thus, she left him with a new, invigorated feel to live, because this pathetic loser can't make me kill myself. So he saved her life without meaning to save her life, because he decided to just tell her the truth. He was about to give her all his remaining money that he just sold his life for. And then he realized, well, it's meaningless. And he just threw it all away in the ocean. And the observer just observed. But you know, the observer thought, I wish you would die sooner. I wish you would die in the next 3 days. But why would the observer think such a thing? She's but an observer. Did you know that the observer was invisible to everybody but him? This is why her childhood friend thought that this boy is crazy. He began to interact with her in public, freely, fearlessly, despite it. He said, if my childhood friend is gone, what matters? What anybody thinks of me anyway? And thus he looks like the town fool, holding hands and holding umbrellas and eating and dining and shopping and talking and strolling and doing all sorts with this invisible girl that does not exist except to him. But that's all that matters, right? That's all that matters. They went and did beautiful things together. And her thoughts of, I wish you would die, began to make more and more sense. You see, she once lost somebody who loved her, and she herself loved as well. She's been an observer since she was like 8, 9, 10. She was a child. She's been observing because her mother decided to sell her time in order to run away from the responsibility of raising her. And when her mother died, she had to fulfill that debt. She had to sell her time. And thus, here she was, observing people that decided to sell their lives because she sold her time. So she could not be seen or interacted with by any except those that she observed. And they could be cruel, they could abuse her physically, do as they please, because after all, they sold their lives and the people observing them sold their time. And they could die while being an observer. The person observed could decide to kill them. Yeah. Interesting. How cruel a deal with the devil is. And she thought, I am falling in love with this man who is so unashamed to display his affection for me in front of all, even if they call him crazy. How is this possible? There's so much more discoveries about this story, so much more heart-wrenching things, but alas, I cannot spoil it much more than this. But all I can say is that the observer and the observee had sensational interactions that led to tragedy that was beautiful yet macabre. Thank you for listening. It's your boy, subscribe, I'm out.